going to do something that we never do on Rolling with T-Bone here today. We're going to have an intimate conversation about something very personal. Let's dive into it. Guys, welcome back to Rolling with T-Bone as we roll down the road in the avalanche today. Kind of something a little personal and intimate with you guys. Some information that, like I said before, if some of y'all in the family already know. July the 14th, about 2 weeks ago, R1 had a stroke.
There was an episode on the 12th.
She had an episode on the 12th, but on the 14th she actually had a stroke. The reason that we haven't put anything out on social media is because she is very reserved about people knowing what's going on. So for the longest time, the only person who knew what was going on was her mom, brother, and of course our kids knew what was happening. But Milkman knew. But the reason we wanted to put this video out is to let everybody know that we're very thankful to the doctors out at Fannin Regional Hospital who were able to recognize the signs, ran some tests, and realized very quickly that she needed to be somewhere where she could get special treatment. So they proceeded to fly her to Memorial Hospital in Chattanooga, where, as far as I'm concerned, she was treated by a stroke staff that's second to none.
Yeah.
Great doctors, great nurses, great facility. The stroke center there is a specialty center that just deals with stroke victims. Our experience was excellent. They did an excellent job. The diagnosis was, because of a lot of the stuff that she has been through in her past, R1 has been through 8 or 9 operations, back surgeries, gallbladder removed, 3 kids naturally. She walked around 16 years with a broken back. 22 years with a broken back.
And I've had nearly a dozen surgeries.
And nearly a dozen surgeries. I'll get it all right in a minute. She'll quit correcting me after a while. Anyway, her blood had got thick, and we didn't know it until they done a MRA scan that she was born with narrow or thin arteries in her brain. Of course, the blood got thick, slowed down the blood flow, her potassium level bottomed out, and these are just some of the things that led to her having a stroke. Now, the part of her brain that was affected by the stroke was the part of the brain that controls your vision.
And the right side of your body.
And the right side of your body, which her vision never went away. Blurred a little. Her eyes didn't lock into place. Nothing like that. All in all, they said she was going to have a 100% recovery from it. Of course, she has to take certain medications now for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
But that's just all part of the game. Starting to get strength back in her right hand. Her right hand and wrist were really affected by it, which
they were already like sprained or something.
Yeah, she has been having trouble with her wrist for a while, and we kind of just contributed that to an accident that she had where she had flung her hand to hit the wall and she hit a bolt. But we started noticing over time that she just couldn't use her hand for anything, which we contributed that to the wrist injury. I figured it might have been a pinched nerve. The doctor, her so-called doctor at the time, was trying to check into that. We believe now that that was a predecessor to her stroke. That was her body saying something isn't right. We didn't know the signs.
No, and the stroke team said that there were signs we just didn't recognize.
Strokes
And they
team.
believe that the whole hand thing is connected to the
Right.
stroke.
The hand was probably one of the biggest signs that we missed because we didn't know what we were looking for. Kind of one of the reasons that we wanted to put this out here, guys, is because stroke awareness is very important.
And it does not necessarily completely make you lose your ability
No.
like a lot of people think it does.
Now, some people, left side strokes seem to be. She had her stroke on the left side of her brain, which controls the right side of the body. The right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. She had a left-handed stroke, which affected her right hand. Her recovery is 100%, was their prognosis. She's recovering fine. Left side stroke victims seem to struggle a little bit more. Their faces go numb, arms go out, the whole left side of the body. So if you have a stroke on the right side, it seems to be a little worse than on the left side. Any stroke is bad.
Yeah.
But, we have gotten so much information and everything about strokes. Strokes they don't go by race, they don't go by, color, they don't go by age, nationality, none of that.
Because I'm in my 40s.
Yeah, and it don't go by age. She's only 43, 44.
I'll be 44 in a couple of days.
She'll be 44 in a couple of days. Her birthday's coming up, so y'all jump on there and wish her a happy birthday. But it can happen to anybody, and unfortunately, like I said, we didn't know the signs to look for. We didn't know what to look for because a stroke, until the event on the day she had her stroke, in my mind, a stroke was the farthest thing from what she was experiencing.
It comes on quickly.
Yep.
And it can last. The amount of time it takes you to get from the beginning to get to the hospital and get care determines how many brain cells are killed off and your ability of recovery.
So time in a stroke situation, guys, time is not your friend.
No.
The more time lost is the more brain loss. That's how they said it at the hospital. If you have a weird thing with your hand, or you have tingling in the right side of your face or the left side, or your arm tingles more than it used to, or your hand tingles more, or your speech is slurred, or if you're having trouble remembering small things.
Yeah.
That was another thing that we didn't attribute to stroke, but she was having trouble remembering words sometimes. She would say, "You know what I mean." She couldn't get the word out. She couldn't think of the word to say. Yeah. Small stuff like that is signs of a stroke.
It's leading up to
You're basically, it's your body telling you something isn't right. You need to get this checked out. And
the biggest things that they said is when you notice changes to like your hands, your feet, it could be just one leg, not painful, just some numbness or inability to move it, or it feels like a lead weight. Like my leg was harder to use, but my arm is what felt like it was just dead there. Like I could barely, trying to pick it up or move it. And tingling, like you said, tingling in the face, or your tongue feels like you've just been to the dentist and been shot full of Novocaine.
Yeah.
Those are the big warning signs, or changes in your vision.
And your body, if you don't, sometimes you may not have all those kind of symptoms.
You may not.
Sometimes you may just have what they call mini strokes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for us, she wasn't experiencing mini strokes, because mini strokes actually cause quite a bit of damage. Anyone out there who's watching this, if you've ever had a mini stroke or a series of mini strokes, you know what we're talking about. So outside of the mini strokes, even if it's not stroke awareness, if anything feels off, if you wake up one day and you know how you're supposed to feel,
you know your body.
Yeah, you know your body. You know how you're supposed to be feeling. If something don't feel right, run and get it checked out, guys. You know, it's...
And if you see a doctor that is tired of you coming in because of one thing or another, because you know your body so well.
Or if you have a doctor when you are explaining things to them,
ignores
what you're saying and just doesn't seem to have any interest in keeping you healthy,
then it might be time to look at changing who you are seeing.
Change it, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Don't give a name.
Her doctor, I immediately changed her doctor as soon as we got out of Chattanooga.
He did.
The Monday morning when we got home that Monday, I called, set her up an appointment with another doctor, and we changed her doctor immediatly. Because in my mind,
that it could have been prevented.
Yeah, and that's, you know, in my mind, he neglected. You know, it was malpractice, and I'm going to tell you right now, if she would have came out of this with serious damage, irreversible damage, I would have sued his hind end off. No question about it. I would have been calling Albany, Georgia to my lawyer down there, and I'd have had her sunk into his neck before the end of the day. But it was scary. It was uncertain, but God was looking out for her. And thankfully, it was a warning sign. It was a wake-up call that she needed to start doing things a little bit different in her life. But mainly what I want to do with this is, you know, she's wanting to share her story just so we can prevent this from happening to someone else. You can't prevent it always. You can't.
No.
Sometimes you don't get all those warning signs, like I said, but, you know,
I happen to know my body pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, and she's been through so much with, you know, a dozen surgeries, 3 kids, and everything else, that if something don't feel right, she knows it. And she tried to tell her doctor
that it didn't feel right,
that something was wrong, that, you know, something just didn't feel right about what was going on inside of her body. But, you know,
we were blessed.
Yeah, we were blessed. We really was. She was blessed. Like I said, God was looking out for her. And, you know, I'm not going to lie to you guys. That morning when she called me, she couldn't even hardly get her words. And I knew what was going on then. I told her, I said, go ahead and be ready. I didn't call no ambulance. I left work, went and got her, had her back at the hospital all in about 12 minutes. I done it faster.
Which is faster than the ambulance.
Yeah, I couldn't have called an ambulance and got that kind of time at all, because I knew once she called me, I knew she was having a stroke. But I thought it might have been a warning stroke. But
that might have been Tuesday's episode.
Yeah, it might have been the Tuesday, which she saw her doctor.
I did.
The very next day, the day before her stroke, she saw her doctor and told him what was going on, and he just sent her home.
Yep.
Didn't offer to run a test or nothing. But again, that, you know, we got rid of him, got a new doctor. But so rolling with Tbone, I'm going to start throwing a lot of support behind stroke awareness. You know.
And it does not. My heart is perfect. It does not necessarily mean you got a heart condition.
Exactly. Yeah. See, I mean,
they tested my heart.
They tested her heart and told her heart was perfect. Yep. So, you know, everybody's body works differently. That's what makes us individual. So I really want everybody who's watching this video to always be here with us. You know, we want you guys to be healthy and to enjoy our content and just be aware of what's going on. And I mean, strokes are like heart attacks in a way. They come out of nowhere, they hit you, and then they're gone.
Yep.
And I can tell you, from the time she called me She couldn't talk. By the time I was to the house,
which was maybe
just
5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes, maybe I was at the house. She was already starting to talk.
Better.
Her speech was clearing up.
Mm-hmm.
She was returning to normal, which was what happened to her the Tuesday. It was a short episode that didn't last maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and she was back to normal. So
all but my arm on Tuesday.
All but the arm.
Yep.
Which the arm was an issue before that. So.
Yep.
But we normally don't share intimate stuff. I try to keep my content upbeat, doing the motorcycle content and all that stuff, and I enjoy doing all that. But I really want everybody out there to be healthy and be safe, and just be aware that it can happen, and it's necessarily not something that you're doing to yourself that causes it to happen.
No.
You know, your blood gets too thick, your potassium bottoms out, or your iron gets too low, or your calcium gets too. You know, these things all add up to something.
Yeah.
You know, low sodium. I mean, people cut out stuff from their diet
because of high blood pressure.
Yeah, because of high blood pressure, not realizing that cutting sodium completely out of your diet is dangerous.
It is.
Cutting
Very
protein
dangerous.
completely out of your diet is dangerous. Everything works in balance, and if things get too far out of balance, then you end up in a dangerous situation.
Yep.
And, you know, blessed as we were, that they were able to identify it, get her to a place where she can be taken care of.
Yeah.
And just her being tough, it could have been a very different situation. She could have come out of this with half of her body paralyzed, losing her vision completely. She could have went blind. I mean, the list of the stuff that me and the doctor talked about
exponential.
was just a laundry list of scary, real life stuff that you have to completely rearrange your entire life to deal with.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to scare nobody or make nobody, but just be aware of your body. Be aware of what's going on inside of your body. You know,
listen to your body.
Listen. If you wake up in the morning and you know you don't feel right, something's off, go get a checkup. Maybe just a 15-minute routine checkup can save you a ton of misery and a ton of pain. But we just wanted to jump on here and share this with you guys real quick and let the family know. We don't want nobody to be hurt that we didn't put this out on or call everybody, but you know, R1's very private about her life, and I had to respect that. She felt that her mother and the kids and just a couple other people was all that needed to know for the time, because it was affecting everything immediately.
Yeah, and those were the people that had to step in and
those were the people who stepped up and helped out
with the kids and everything. And I don't hide anything from our kids.
Right. So, you know, I was having a hard enough time dealing with not losing my own mind and being there for my kids. Me and Cheyenne was in constant contact about everything. Cheyenne's our oldest daughter, and I couldn't have handled everybody all at once wanting to know what was going on. And they pretty well much one of the doctors I don't want to leave out of this was the telehealth doctor that came in on the video screen. He was a video doctor. He was the first one to say, you're going to make a 100% recovery from this.
And he said straight up it was a stroke.
He knew straight up that it was a stroke, but he also told her just from the MRI, the reason he wanted her to go to Cleveland was for the MRA or Chattanooga, was for the MRA and to get treatment from the stroke center. But he was the first one to say, you're going to recover from this. Don't be scared. You're going to recover.
Which calmed me down.
And once he told me that, I knew there wasn't no sense in jumping on social media and freaking everybody out.
Yeah, like
that. It was something that happened. It was important, but there was no reason to freak everybody out over it.
No.
If it would have been something more serious, I would have put out something on social media. If nothing else, asking for prayers.
And I'm okay with something like that.
Yeah, she's okay with something like that. But guys, and like I said in a lot of my videos, if you run out of somebody to pray for us. We always stand in need of prayers. But God was watching out for her that day, the whole situation. She trusts God a lot. Her prayers get through when mine don't even get out above the ceiling. But just continue to keep good thoughts and good vibes coming this way, and I'll occasionally give y'all a report on how she's doing. She's still doing good, you know, things like that. I'll give you progress reports as we go along, but let's just be more aware of our bodies, guys. We're middle-aged people now. A lot of the people who follow me are middle-aged and a little older. We really got to pay attention to our bodies, and even you young people.
Yeah.
20s and 30s, you guys.
Because I've had high blood pressure since I was in my teens.
Yeah, so you got to pay attention to your bodies too. Just because you feel like Superman, don't mean you are Superman. Or 20 years ago I was bulletproof, and I'm paying for all of that now. As I get middle aged, I creak a little more, and I'm a little more rusty, and I pop and crack a little more than I used to. Well, guys, we just wanted to share that. You got anything else, man?
Not that I can think. I enjoy drinking some water.
Yeah, water. Water is that was the first thing he told her as a stroke patient. Water is your best friend.
It is.
Drink. You don't got to flood yourself out.
But, no, don't flood yourself out.
But don't just not drink water. Even I've started drinking water, and y'all know me, I'm a Mountain Dew man. But tell you what, guys, that's pretty well much going to bring this video to the end. I want to thank you guys for clicking on and watching, and supporting the channel, supporting me, or supporting R1. And guys, until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and remember to check on your own body. Make sure you're taking care of yourself there. Until the next time, I'm T-Bone, she's R1, and this has been Rolling with T-Bone.